Just a friendly reminder that the opinions expressed on this show are not worth a Canadian penny, so disregard anything you hear that might get anyone in trouble. And despite some of the great ideas you may hear, don't try them at home. Go to a friend's house instead.
It's time to get a gun. That's what I've been thinking. Well, I could afford one. And if I did just a little less drinking, time to put something between me and the sun. When the talking is over, it's time to get a gun.
Hello and welcome to Slamfire Radio, episode 666, recording live August 19th. I'm one of your hosts, Real Ballistics Dustin.
And I'm Cowtown Tony.
And that's it. Nobody else likes you. It's just us. All of the parents are away, so I guess the kids play on this Devil Day? Yeah, I think this day is cursed. I think that's why nobody else is on. Nobody wanted to be a part of it. But that's all right.
Everyone else is too religious. Look at your hair color and look at my skin tone. You will know that's kind of how it is.
Yeah.
So we're the ones only allowed out here because we are not affected by spells and stuff. I don't know.
Well, I don't know. I always, who knows? But nonetheless, listeners, we love you. We're here for you. And we've got a show for you. So I guess why don't we start it off with what we did in guns? Tony, what have you done in guns since we've seen you last?
I've done a few things.
Okay.
The viewers would know I was in the basement with Adriel last week. So that means I was in Edmonton on Edmonton Day. No, on Wednesday. And usually at Sherrill Park, they have a Thursday night fun shoot. And this time, Tristan of SBI has decided, hey, we're going to trial a Olympic 25-meter rapid fire kind of stage. So we did that as kind of a practice. I was shooting Adriel's GSG 1911-22.
How'd you find that?
It was challenging, which is odd. Let me demonstrate. Was not mine, also not mine. Adriel's 1911, of course, safety check first. I put a conscious effort to ride the safety as I shoot it. And especially in a single-handed position, because that's how rapid fire kind of works. I would push down on it pretty hard. I never really noticed until actually shooting this weekend that, the slide is actually moving against my finger as it goes back and forth, understandably. So again, this is not a run-of-the-mill Norinco MP29. A gunsmith on a boat, that's how Adriel described it, has worked on it. And I believe they did dehorn all the serrations. I had Foothill Farm training Dave's 1911 at one point, also an MP29. And that one, what I was doing was playing with the front cocking serrations a lot, trying to get familiarized with that gun. Mm-hmm. And my hand was losing skin as I do it. For this gun, it doesn't happen. So because this gun doesn't cut me, I don't think about the hole. And I won't say I have heavily industrial worker callous hands, but I would describe it as medium texture. I do some work, but not heavy duty work all the time.
Right. You don't have accountant hands is what you're saying.
No, not as much. But I wouldn't call my hand moisturized and smooth. They work with screwdrivers a lot, I guess, but not wrenches and heavier objects, if you want to say so.
You're a working man, but you're still
I'm a office working type. Anyway, you get the idea. So I never really noticed, and I know in the custom 2011 world, there's a lot of shielded safeties where you have a safety that have kind of a side step that shields your thumb against the slide.
Yep.
And Adam Maxwell of Vortex Optics, check him out, 3-Gun AMAX on YouTube, mentioned that he doesn't like it because first, the guns don't cut him because he shoots very fancy Atlas pistols. Second, he wants to get closer to the gun, which is what I'm trying to do here too. But that amount of friction on a 22 would actually cause stoppages because you're adding in 9mm or 45 world, an insignificant amount of resistance turns into a significant amount of resistance. So I don't know. I also saw my teammate Mark from the team match shooting a converted 1911 GSG instead. It's a standard frame, but Adriel says he ran out of gas. You are riding a bike, bro. Oh God. Oh, we're double
I got
clicking
it.
it so hard. So really? Just I don't know, siphon some gas from your buddy's car or something. I don't know.
That's quite funny.
But yeah, so if I have one, I might have to option a shield of safety, or I wouldn't want to shoot two 1911s different styles. That just seems like a very awkward thing to do. 3.4 kilometers, sir, that's really far away. That's not close at all. That's Adriel, by the way. So I did that. That was kind of fun. I have to go back to. Never been back to Sherwood Park so soon. Only 4 days in between, which is very nice. I didn't enjoy the facilities the second time though. It was just the evening shoot, so I didn't have to use the shower, for example. But if you're in the Edmonton area, that is a very nice range. And it's not only a range, but it's an outdoor facility, outdoor recreation facility. That's right. I don't know if you can roll a canoe there. That would be kind of fun. But they do have water ponds filled with mosquitoes. So
that is, you're not selling it.
No, the mosquito is a problem. They have a lot of grass. They have a lot of water. So I think the 2 hours we were there, 2.5 hours we were there, I sprayed myself 3 to 4 times with mosquito repellent. So
Probably wasn't enough.
I am also fat and type O blood. So,
so you're
in
just
a
like,
sense, foreign meat. So maybe that's a contributing factor. I don't know. It's exotic East Asian cuisine. I don't know.
Tony, you've been living in Alberta forever. You're hardly exotic.
Maybe. My diet's still kind of interesting, though. And in preparation for the weekend Steel Challenge Nationals, I had to take this particular 1911 part.
Yeah.
And in the reassemble process, I made a boo. I should have swung the bushing to the left, but I did it to the right. So somehow I got it kind of stuck, which is interesting. It didn't hurt anything. So I gave it a little bit of spray of Ballistol. And then I remembered, Lock Grip at SHOT Show gave me a 1911 wrench. So I never understood why I should use this, because the two 1911 I ever touched, somewhat long term, are two MP29s, and they're all kind of loosey goosey because that's how they built them, and they are reliable. I don't know how accurate they are. I'm not that accurate of a pistol shooter, so I don't think that's the problem. But somehow I managed to get it stuck. So I gave it a little bit of oil, get a little bit of juice.
Yep.
And I was able to overcome that problem. I did try to uninstall everything and try to put it back together the correct way, just to make sure there's no metal shavings randomly somewhere.
I'm sorry. You said the correct way, not the crack way, right? Because that would be a different way for you to reassemble a gun.
Crack way? How would you do that?
You've never seen some cracked out guns before?
No, not I don't do.
We need like a meth gun episode. That
sure, Brandon Herrera curse gun images, I guess.
Yeah,
I generally don't do drunken gun assemblies, so I'm okay for the most part.
You're missing out.
And I noticed when I'm shooting this gun that you can see the front has quite a bit of smoke marks on it, which is pretty interesting at the Nationals. And then I reminded, I don't really shoot this thing at a high schedule for, I don't know, 200 rounds a day.
I was going to say,
matches generally speaking aren't as fast paced. So that could be a contributing factor. It could also be the contributing factor of sprayed ballast all over the front. And I wiped most of it off, but maybe don't use ballastol on your race guns. I don't know.
No, Tony, you put that many rounds, especially through a 45, and it's just
it's not a 45. It's only a 9mm.
Oh, you could
So
still all of my 9 mils. I come back from the range. You light off 200-300 rounds, and the front's dirty. It's just the way it is. Lighting off a little
I
explosion.
just don't remember it being this dirty though. So
Oh, it means you don't shoot enough.
that's a consideration. And I did mention this to Adriel already, and he did post it. I posted the redacted, because I don't want to be doxxed so hard, version of the letter. It was from
I can't read it. Where is it from?
New Hampshire.
Oh, the New Hampshire.
Concord, New
Right.
Hampshire.
Right.
I just noticed a little detail. They actually airmailed it to me. It would cost them $1.75 US. So thank you, US government, and sorry about that. And they have to add the Canada part on, because when they printed it, it didn't even have it. So that was pretty funny. But the fact is, they do not issue, at least it seems to be, that they don't issue out of country permits anymore. When Adriel got the news, they were still in the consideration phase. That's when I just submitted it. It's like, oh, what a waste of $100. But I guess we'll try. But in the end, no permits for us. It only really affects North Carolina, though, because they're not a constitutional carry state. And they would accept a non-resident permit. It's kind of the edge case here, but I thought if I had it, I kind of have a form of US ID, and it kind of promotes the legitimacy of you carrying it. I think in the end it wouldn't matter, but especially you're in the States for short term, you don't want unnecessary trouble if you can't avoid it, right? So that's a consideration.
Yeah, that's fair.
For the Nationals, we do have door prizes, and I got some base pads from SPI. Ironically, I just shipped these guys down to Calgary from Edmonton, passed it to the match director, and
Adriel
now I have
says,
them. So that's cool.
Adriel says you have open carry in North Carolina now.
Yeah. You can still do it in South Carolina. I didn't even do it in South Carolina when I visited. So anyway, so these base packs are pretty cool. They're aluminum, they're heavy, and they help you drop your mags. So thank you to SBI for sponsoring the match. Unfortunately, Tristan wasn't able to make it to demonstrate his gun, but as he told me, this is one of the last tenderized, the tan-colored ST22 they made. They're going to a different color. I think going forward, it's probably like Kodiak brown to their new chassis. I don't think this is too much off. Again, to Tony, it's anything is better than black in color, I guess, for any kind of gun thing. So
I challenge you. I challenge you on that, and I challenge them. They have no colors. It's like black or some kind of.
They had more colors. They had black, blue, red,
but the blue
and
was
tan, but the other two didn't sell. So vote was your wallets, folk. But yeah, this is my replacement receiver for my ST22 that had slamfire issues. So this hopefully will address it and will become a part of my 1022 race gun. And we do have a listener question about it later on. So I'll address that when we get to it. That's about all. Last thing I did is I'm working with my friend, initial JT, not the Quebecois kind, but his initial is JT, which is kind of funny. Yeah, amount of friend group. With his 303, I think it's a number 1 Mark IV, but the original bolt had issues, so he has a replacement bolt. But unlike most 303s, which you will run into issue with loose chambers, his chamber appears too tight, which is pretty rare for especially for 303s, because they're known for throw erosions and kind of known for modern day neck sizing, because then you are not pushing the brass back in too much. So I'm trying to see what's going on with this gun. I might be shooting a match with him this weekend, so we'll see. We'll test a few things and probably get him to jump on the reloading press and see if we can maybe full-length size brasses so they're smaller than some factory loadings, and see if they fit better, or If we want to go for a neck sizing, we'll see. That's kind of a side benefit of reloading is for guns with out of spec due to their age, usually out of spec chamber sizes. That could be a workaround to continue enjoying that gun, but have it shoot safely and cost effectively in the long run.
Right. No, that makes sense. No.
What about you, Dustin?
What about me? Well, you know what? I've done some gun setups since I've seen you last, and since I've chatted with the listeners. You know what? Like, almost. No, let's go from the bottom up. I got to play with a Galil recently.
Hello.
A Galil, like a Galil. Sorry, I'm
The IWI.
I think it was IMI that made that initially, and this one's yeah,
I think IMI came first anyway.
That's
the Israeli weapon company.
Yes, yeah, as it was well, it's Israeli Weapons Industries now, but I think it was Israeli Military Industries when it started IMI. Or did I get that in reverse? I don't remember. Anyway, yeah, so a buddy of mine, again, one of the sort of film gun guys with the special licenses, got a couple of guns at an auction recently, and my God, has he ever been, he's like the devil on my shoulder. It's ideal that we're talking on 666 because he has been tempting me to buy some things, but he got his Galil. It's cherry. I don't think it's ever been fired. It definitely, somebody bought it like before it got prohibited back in early 90s, and then it sat in someone's safe until that person either passed away or finally sold things at this auction. But it is beautiful. Also, it was actually imported from the States, so I think that there is like a vector for him to export that one at some point, like if he really wanted to get some money out of it. It's a showpiece. It really does deserve to be displayed somewhere. It's really, really pretty.
Were they ever sold to civilians or the commercial market?
I don't know, man. That gun was bought and sold before I could legally possess firearms, like when I was like 5.
What kind of crazy magazine does it use? Modified?
Yeah, it's its own. They're rare as hen's teeth. It's its own magazine. They're 35 rounds.
That's what I remember because Counter-Strike.
Yeah, they're slightly longer. There's some elements of it that I really like. I like the night peep sights. So it's got like flip up night sights, and they're really neat. Everything about the action was nice. The trigger pull was nice. I'm looking forward to us facilitating that gun getting shot because I want to try it. We have a couple of little hoops to jump through regulatory wise before we can do that, but really, really excited for the day that we can legally take that one out and test fire it. So that was really cool because any new cool gun, even for a friend, is really awesome. I had to fight every ounce of my own desire. So there was in that same auction, there was a 1928 Thompson A1 submachine gun. And anybody that knows me real well knows that is the exact Tommy gun that I want. Really bad. And again,
want the 28?
I want the 28A1. I want the top charging handle, open bolt, pre-World War II Thompson.
Right. So you want the Chicago one, not
correct.
The Normandy one.
I want the Chicago typewriter. I want it so bad. So bad. I will own one. But so for all the listeners out there, anybody in America land knows that, well, that's been on the naughty list my entire life, but doesn't mean I'm not going to be able to have one day. Anywho, there was a couple on sale at this auction. The only one that was a 1928 A1 it sat in my open tabs for a week, just taunting me because I knew all right, so I don't have my business storage set up for me to have it, where I would store things for business stuff. But I have options, right? I could have bought it and had it transferred to the armory that we deal with, or again, this friend. There were options. I could have bought it. I really, really wanted to, but until I am like fully ready to take possession of it, I've just got to let it go. I've been told that they come up not infrequently, and what it sold for was just like painful. It, sold for $2,200, and it's not the first Thompson I've seen sell for like sub $3K. And obviously, okay, there's gonna be.
You should have just bought it.
Well, there's gonna be taxes. There's gonna be a buyer's premium.
Just saying, a Carmel is like almost that.
I know, right? But a Carmel I could just take to the range and shoot. I don't need 3 stacks of paperwork, approval from the CFO, permission from my range, or rental agreement.
Cheaper than a Carmel, perhaps.
True. Also, yeah,
and it has a. You don't have to compensate for the rate of fire with your finger. Eh?
No. Well, yeah, no, that's fair. That's fair. Anywho, it's on the list, but it was really hard. This time around, like I've turned down a couple of other opportunities to buy Thompsons. This one, we were really close on this one. Like I hovered over that bid button a couple of times and just kind of in the, screw it kind of mindset. But anyway, I fought my worser urges. I will own one day.
How many people in Canada actually have a license to possess these things? I guess businesses.
It's a couple of businesses, not very many.
Oh, really? Businesses may not have it? I thought it was just a blanket.
Almost none. No.
Okay.
No. Your prohibited firearms designation on that business license is incredibly rare. Most gun stores don't have that.
I guess I'm spoiled because CSC is next door.
Yeah, and I suspect that like part of why they have it, like whoever is like within the ownership structure, there's probably somebody there that had prohibs from the before times or whatever. It might just be because Alberta's awesome and your CFO isn't, doesn't hate you, because they weren't, facilitated by the Fed. But yeah, you guys have it better than most there. That said, I will own one at some point. It's going to happen. Trying not to like get too deep into building my own inventory here until just like I know exactly what's going to happen next. Although I've had a couple other things. I had another lawyer get in touch with me about taking over some what do you call it? Estate firearms, some newly prohibited estate firearms that the owner has passed away. The widow just doesn't want to see them destroyed. So I gave some guidance. That's not going to be like a rush thing, but at some point there was a couple of things in there that I was like, oh, those could go into the inventory and get used in a movie or a show at some point, and totally justifiable. So there's a world where that might happen. But what's really, really sad is, I asked him, I was like, how often is this happening? And he's like, I got like 20 more cases just like this. This is happening a lot because, people die every day. So, that's sad, and it's sort of a crappy state of things, but hopefully we see some relief in the next year. They're going to my recommendation to him before, I was like, you're like, the executor thing is all sorted out. You're not in a rush. Like, wait until after the ruling from the Supreme Court. Let's know what's going on before you start, giving things away. Cause like, I told him, I was like, I'm not going to pay you like market value for those things just so that they can survive. I just, said I can maybe use them in a movie at some point. I'm going to give you here's a little money for your trouble. I'll take over those things. So, yeah, so we'll see where that goes. And I bought a bunch of ammo. Bought some 9mm. I bought a bunch of 9mm actually from a couple of different. I did that FOC deal. I bought 1,000 rounds of those hollow points because they were on that really, really good.
Sounds like your reloading press is not being visited too often.
No, I don't have time, man. I literally right now, man, I measure my free time in minutes. Like if I have 2 free hours in a night, I don't know how I ended up with such a wealth of time. Like you guys do not understand. I'm pulling 14, 16-hour days a lot of the time. I look at my reloading press with a lot of envy. I miss sitting in front of it for hours just listening to a podcast and just kakunk.
I can't do it for hours. You could
leave me
for like 3 maybe.
No, you could leave me in my shop for a full day and I would be very happy.
Maybe my attitude would change if I can like test the results real fast and then come back to it.
Yeah, well, I guess like so. I mean, to be fair, like part of it's like I already have a couple of recipes that I'm very
Yeah, fair.
pleased with. So like then I'm just follow recipe, crank out a bunch of rounds. Hopefully, I don't screw up. I'll bang out 2,000 or 3,000 rounds. Or I used to just like I just sit there until I ran out of supplies and just go. And that has just not been my reality this year. I have bought more ammo this year than I probably have in the last 5, honestly. And we're still in
It's the
August.
consistent story, right? You either pay with time or you pay with money.
Yeah.
You're making more at your job than you are sitting at a reloading bench, so you should just buy ammo.
Yeah, well, and that's exactly what I've done. So yeah, so bought some 9mm, bought some 308. I would love to roll some more of my 308, but I just, can't. And actually, I hilariously can't either. I couldn't reload. Well, I could. I just have to dig components out. On the weekend, my one day off. So because of the scale of the thing that we're filming, there is main unit and then second unit. So there's actually 2 film productions going on independent of each other that we pay attention to at the same time. So and your second unit will kind of clean up stuff. So your main unit, they're all about the drama. Your second unit, that's all about like all these little detail bits, a bunch of the big wide bits, anywhere where you can have a stunty, stuff like that. Anyway, we have lots of meetings. We have prepped for a lot of these scenes for weeks, months sometimes. Anyway, they had a film day on Sunday, which was my day off. And I did nothing but work on my day off. I fielded like 8 different phone calls. And then finally I had, unpaid too. I didn't get paid a cent for any of that. And then our one of our like the guy that runs the onset portion of the team calls me in an all-out panic because they're demanding way more shell casings than he has to offer. Like without getting into too much detail about the scene,
as
or
in
the
like
details,
a prompt,
as
like
a prop
like just everywhere on the ground.
on the ground. Yeah,
Okay.
a whole bunch of shell casings. This guy's been shooting this gun for a while. It's a whole thing.
We can just create them.
Well, you can't though. Here's the thing.
Why
Like, think
not?
about it. You or I, we can go to the gun range and make casings, right? They're on a set, and they were doing blank fire, but they can't use the blank fire cases because they're crimped, right? So there's like,
The Matrix didn't care, and people still think it's a great film.
look, I won't get into the politics and the logistics of it. Let's just say this is very important, having it look right, but the discussion was not had. At no point were we asked for more than like a handful of shell casings. He's shooting a bolt action. But it's this whole thing.
So
and
you
now
mean he burnt out his whole barrel, and they want you to recreate that?
I won't tell you how many rounds they fired off that day.
2 million rounds. Yes.
I wish, no. But it was more than a few hundred out of a bolt gun.
Can they not find a machine gun to accelerate the process?
It wasn't what the scene called for. He had a bolt gun in that scene. So anyway,
I'm saying for a prop, just like generate the props really quickly.
but again, you're missing the point. You
Okay.
cannot use crimped, spent.
Right.
blank
I'm just saying,
casings.
hey, Dustin, we need like 303 shell casing. Can you take this Lewis gun and this can of ammo to a place, shoot it, and then come back with all the shell casings?
Well, that wouldn't. Again, time. Time is the other thing, Tony. When I got that phone call, it was, we need these right now.
That's
and I
not
was like,
happening.
well,
24 hours notice at least. Come on.
Well, I mean, 24, I would have been back to work the next day. No, so I was like, okay, well, good thing I haven't cracked a beer yet because I can still drive. So I run down to my, one of my shelves of reloading supplies and pick through all my brass gremlin, brass stash, and found a couple of baggies of sorted out, fired but not clean 308
Yeah,
casings.
my brass will be shiny on the ground. That would
Well,
look pretty
so
awkward.
here's the thing. So is most of mine. So my standard operating procedure, most of the time, once I generate enough brass. And so for 308, it's usually 50 cases. Like 50 cases fit in like a medium bag, and I'll chuck them in the brass cleaner.
Do you have a dry type or a wet type?
Both. I have both. I go crazy.
50 rounds in a wet, really?
No, I'm not. Oh, I'm saying depending on what I'm doing, right? I have one for each. But the point is that so usually I'll do this like 50, you call it 5308, maybe 100 223, like a certain like quantities of casings that will fit in the baggies that I use. And I had 2 baggies, each with like between 30 and 40 rounds. Like I could have consolidated them. They came from different range trips, and they just kind of got separated out into baggies, and I never really thought about them again. And into the big tote of unclean, unsorted brass they went. Run out to my truck, light out to set, which is really close to home, which was also why I wasn't like super grumpy I had to go. Plus, like any day we have gunfire, I usually at least make an appearance.
Do you not have an on-call fee? 4 hours on-call minimum. Come on.
I should. And
Exactly,
I would have been 100% justified in expecting that pay, but that would have been 7th day pay, and somebody from production would have had a heart attack if they saw
Why not?
7th day pay is like
Just
triple
give
time.
them the heart attack. Double time. Let's go.
No, it's triple
Oh,
time.
really? Okay,
Tony.
triple time. Let's go.
It's a lot. It's a lot of money. And then on top of it, because it would be 7th day, my Monday would have been 8th day, 9th day, 10th day, 11th day, 12th day. It would have been bad. So
They should have planned it out.
Tony, there's some give and take in all industries, and this was the give and take.
I don't know, man. We don't do that kind of give and take. We just charge the customer. It's fine. On call 4 hours. Let's go. Or I don't know. Don't pay. Text. Don't answer the phone calls, man. Also, Dustin's stuck, so there's that. Well, give him 30 seconds while I cannot fill you in on news. Oh, he's back. So I think
Yeah, that happened to me too. I don't know what happened there. It happened twice. Anyway, long story short there, guys, it was a bit of an adventure, but it's always good to be on set when there's gunfire happening, and so I was. But that gun was dirty at the end of the day. Moving right along. I did some dry fire practice. I have a handgun course coming up on the weekend that I'm very excited about. So
Silvercore, right?
That's right. Yep. So lots of drawing from the holster, practicing reholstering, practicing my mag changes, just like, I'm really
Which pistol are you
comfy.
using? The P320?
Of course.
Fair enough.
Of course. It's a spectacular gun, and I trust it with my life. Yep.
I can respect that. That's fine.
Yep. Did another range day. Just again, it wasn't a huge range day. I went to one of the indoor ranges that's close by and just let off a few 100 rounds just more practice before my course.
There's your brass.
Well, that's not 308 brass, but anyway, I've got buckets of 9mm brass. We could reload for days. Speaking of the one thing that I did do with on my reloading bench, a friend of mine gave me. He's the one person whose reloads I trust. He gave me just a butt ton of homemade 45 rounds that he cast himself from lead wheel weight.
Wow, pure.
And yeah.
Is it a semi-wad cutter bullet too?
No. So mix and match. So some of the ones he did were the wad cutters, which were great. They run really, really well. The other ones were just round nose. And this is where the story was there. I've actually had to sit there with my single stage and my 45 dies and reform them because they're just a little bit out, and my gun was not enjoying feeding them.
What gun?
This is a 1911 in 45. Yeah.
Huh. Do you know what he shoots?
He doesn't have a 45 anymore. That was why he gave me all the ammo.
What did he shoot before?
I don't know. He had he had a couple. He sold a bunch of his handguns right before the ban, so he had a couple of 1911s and some other stuff.
I'm trying to think if there is a 45 gun that has even longer magazine length than a 1911. It seems unlikely, but what do you know?
Yeah, I don't know. And then finally, today it was a complete fluke. I just happened to be in the area, and I finally got to go check out Reliable Guns' new location in Langley. Now, for any of the listeners in the Lower Mainland,
Is that a double location or is it they moved?
yes, no,
Okay,
it is
cool.
so Reliable Gun has been around in Vancouver forever. I think they've been around for like 50, 60 years. It's been a long running business. Absolutely love them. Friend of the show, friend of the CCFR, friend of gun owners everywhere. And I'm very happy to see them doing so well. But the location in Vancouver that they have had has definitely stifled them over the years. Obviously, like they're kind of grandfathered in. You couldn't open up a new gun store in Vancouver even if you wanted to. And like their footprint just is what it is. It's not the most convenient location to get to. Honestly, I don't go there more often just because it's a pain in the butt to get to. So anyways, they opened up this brand new location out in Langley, right by the highway. It's right by a pub too, which is awesome. It's really, really cool. It is what a gun store is supposed to look like in 2026.
That
It's
would
gorgeous.
seem too convenient. That is right beside the hotel. I always stay there because I stay there for work, and that is the closest Holiday Inn I can find.
Dude,
So, well,
yeah.
it will appear to be bad news for my wallet in the future.
You have you have no idea how bad news it is for your wallet, because the other thing about Reliable Gun, they have like great selection. There is
I'm
a
just
there
looking
is
at their photos, the amount of bullets they have for reloading, that's pretty cool.
oh yeah, and they're not done with the place yet. They've already got plans for like a rare gun room, that sort of thing as well. Oh, they've got a whole section for like precision rifles, a whole MDT wall. They pulled out all the stops. I'm really, really, really excited for them. I've been wanting to go check the store out since they opened. If you are in the Lower Mainland or are coming here soon, you absolutely should go check them out. This is not in any way a sponsorship. They're just awesome, and it's a really cool gun store run by really cool people. And yeah, so that's what I did in guns. Sorry that ramble took so long. All right, let's rip through upcoming events real hard and fast. HG Firearms Training has nothing new on.
They have courses in a month, September 19th and 20th.
No, you know what? He didn't put them up, so no advertising. Well, no advertising.
Thank you to HG Farm Training for sponsoring the show.
Yes. No. When are those dates? I'm sorry. I'm being obtuse.
In a month's time, September 19th and 20th at Sherwood Park Fish and Game. And then another course will be in another month, October 17th and 18th. I think that's right before we leave for Memorial, PAL and RPAL. So your closest RPAL will be in October.
We know Adriel doesn't like time off, so it's fine. All right, 3-gun matches. 3gun.ca is where you'd find your 3-gun matches. We've got a match September 12th at Chaz, match September 13th at CDTSA. Help me out with that one, Tony? Nope, maybe. And then we've got September 19th. Ooh, combat shotgun course at...
Not a course, just match.
Oh, sorry, combat shotgun match at SPFGA. Sherwood Park Fish and Game Association. I did know that one. I knew I recognized that one. And then finally we've got
all in Alberta. Just there's the North Alberta and there's North Alberta, Middle Alberta, South Alberta. That's pretty much it.
I swear when I have more time I'll get more involved with the BC stuff, especially after my handgun course. And Calgary area, BTSA
IPSC steel match. So I call it most guns because it's not all guns. You can't shoot a regular rifle in it, but PCC, if you have one, rimfire, shotgun, pistol, IPSC style steel. It's kind of Dave Knox's excuse to have you set up a stage and everyone can practice.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yep.
Cool.
So he is willing to match direct those. CTSA practical shotgun coming up this weekend. I believe it's a Sunday 23rd, and mini rifle coming up on the 30th.
Practical shotgun. Shotguns sure are practical. All right. Do we have any Maple Seeds coming up? I see the August 9th one is canceled, but it's not August 9th anymore.
Let me take a look. We have August 22nd, Sherwood Park. I guess Adriel will be there. August 22nd and 23rd, Queensville DNR Range in Nova Scotia. 29th at CDTSA Milo. That one's sold out. And also on the 29th, Angville and District Sportsman Club, Rimfire only. That's in Ontario. And the 30th CDTSA Milo. Holy cow, they're doing... Okay, got it. So it's a doubleheader weekend at CDTSA. And up to September 12th, there's going to be another one in Sherwood Park. That one registration is still open.
Cool. All right. Now, and for those of you in Ontario or in the surrounding area, check out the Ontario Rifle Association.ca. Their calendar is up for this year. I'm not sure how long their events go. If Dave liked us more, he would stay up late and he would be here to tell you more about that. But he doesn't because he wanted to sleep because he doesn't like me. Dave only comes on when I don't. I'm kidding. We love you, Dave. All right, moving on to the news. And in first, some bad news. As we touched on in our earlier segment, New Hampshire no longer doing non-resident carry permits for out-of-country residents.
Yep, so that news, I don't know if it will be out of country or is it going to be non-resident in general, but
right.
We got the early news from a phone call, or is it email from Adriel doing that. And then I have, again, if you want to see the source, it's available on Discord. As an educated person in the Western world, I do appreciate sources. And if I can provide them, I will. So, yeah, they won't be doing those. If you paid by a check, you'll be able to get your money back. If you pay by a money order, I don't actually know how that works. I think you can probably go to a bank to cancel it. From what I see, they're making an effort to return them. I don't know if Adriel got his application back, though. Again, the mail system is not always reliable.
That's fair. All right, moving right along. Arrow is under new ownership. Do you want to just pull up the article here and maybe I can just rapidly read it off, a little rapid fire?
No worries. I'll explain. So when we were at SHOT Show, you remember there's a big old open space with beer served in the afternoon. That was Arrow's booth. The reason behind it is if you lost your seniority at SHOT Show, it's difficult to get them back. So I believe that's why they did that decision. But Arrow Precision Group is under a new ownership that includes Arrow, Stag Arm, Ballistic Advantage, the barrels, and VG6 Gamma, I believe, like their muzzle attachment stuff. So they're moving from a private equity ownership to a family investment group.
Good.
While the family investment group are not involved with firearms right now, they say they're two-way friendly. So we'll see how they do coming up. Their goal right now is to fulfill the back orders, which is very nice for the customers. And we'll see how they do in the coming year. Hopefully we'll see them at SHOT Show because they do still have that spot because they did pay for it. So more to come on that.
I'm excited for them on this. Like in general, like, look, private equity ruins things. Like it kind of ruins good things. So hey, even if it is a family investment group, having actual people there with like actual drives that are not just make number go up and to right. Curious to see what that means for them as a company and organization. In other news, Aussie Gun Buyback Part 2 Electric Boogaloo is going off.
Going up, kind of. This is happening kind of after the Bondi Beach shooting was the Beretta, the straight pull. And, this information comes from SBS News, which I verified as their second largest news outlet in Australia. But they have this new buyback scheme, and they're aiming for $1,000 Australian, which is about 1,000 Canadian. I'm pretty sure. Let me just confirm.
But only for centerfire rifles.
That's only
and
for
revolvers.
Revolvers. So
revolvers and centerfire rifles.
Yeah, it's about 98 100 is equal to 90.
So,
So it's pretty close.
Scroll back up for a sec. I just want to just read this off a little bit. So like, people paid to hand in their firearms, first phase of this scheme. So basically what happened, the government failed miserably, let people into the country that they shouldn't have, gave them guns that they shouldn't have had. And then when that ended in horrible tragedy, after calling a bunch of people racist for a while, they said, this is the gun owners' fault. Let's ruin their day more. And
I'm not exactly certain, but I also saw a language about how regular gun owners can have 4 guns total, and specialty occupations, for example, farmers can get up to 10. I don't know if that's a new limitation or existing one. So there's a possibility that you are forced to comply with the new regulation with this scheme. But again, it's going to be a flat rate. So if you have a bunch of PSA ARs at $300 a pop, you might come out okay. Yeah. But if you have a set of 4 Daniel defenses, you're in really bad shape. $1,000 Canadian.
You have to bear in mind, Tony. Like they haven't, for the most part, had readily large access to semi-auto rifles like for our entire.
Let's say they have a set of 2 SCSAs because they're made in Australia.
Yeah.
They're good patriotic boys. Those are more than $1,000 a piece. Come on.
Yeah. So, but my question, and again, I haven't, honestly, more out of just like not getting more fired up. I haven't dug too deep into how forceful they're being about this, what the deal is. I know that the gun owners are not happy about it. And I know that there's at least some places where they're kind of like, heck with that. But yeah, that sort of sucks. I feel
eligible business and dealers will be offered up to $25,000 in grant and a one-off licensing fee relief worth $500 over 2 years.
God, their government respects gun owners and gun businesses just as much as ours do.
Less than $1 per day.
That's amazing.
How?
Yeah, that's some gun haters came up with that one. Cool. All right. I don't want to get too fired up about that. Alberta Canadian Firearms Safety Course bid, an organization won. Oh,
I should explain that. I have information that usually the Alberta Firearm Course, the CFSC and the CFRSC, Canadian Firearm Restricted Firearm anyway. The Canadian Firearm Safety Course is done by AHIA, the Alberta Hunters Instructor Education Association. Anyway,
yeah, but they let that go this last year.
They redid it, and there has been a bid winner announced, but I don't believe if it's public information or not. So I'll see more coming up soon. They are a familiar name from what I understand.
Cool. Well, I don't know. That's exciting. Exciting in a sense that at least there is somebody still dealing with it. I know it was kind of up in the air for a minute, so that's cool. Hopefully that means
see how it holds in the long run. I don't think it will impact us much as daily firearm owners or firearm learners, for that matters, but it might affect ADRO, for example, as educators and instructors.
Right. Yeah, I'm curious how that ends up working out. But all right, moving on to new gun stuff. Tenda, soft open? Whoa.
Wow.
Reddit
is being Redditing. So they did a soft open last Saturday. They have a new location. I did find that in their email signatures, they have named Calgary the HQ. I'm assuming that is for taxation reasons, and I think understandably so. And they're moving. I don't think they're moving their entire operation here, but they are having a new operation in Calgary. I don't know who is going to be responsible for shipping things. Perhaps if it's in stock in both, they will try to ship wherever is closest. With that change, there's also some changes to the website. So we'll see availability online, Calgary store and Richmond store. The funny thing is, though, it will make your entire page very populated. So always give you Audi store options. So you can't
Oh,
really
I see.
filter
Out
it,
of
but
stock in Calgary. Out of stock in Calgary.
yeah, so
They're
it'll
showing
be
available
a
online.
little bit of a cluster for
No, you
if
know
they
what?
don't fix their website.
For the listeners, so I actually like this. Where like, say we're talking about PMC. Wait, scroll back up. PMC bronze, 9mm, 147 grain, full metal jacket, box of 50, 1899. Available online. That's in stock. Calgary, out of stock. Richmond Hill, in stock. So I like this. I actually like an interface like this. I don't care that it's a little bit of
I
extra
think
space.
it takes too much space. I
I
would just
disagree.
have a filter on top, show me available in stock either in either store, both stores, one store, online only. I don't know.
Yeah, that's
Something
fair.
like that.
All right. Now, these next couple of links, these are just Canada Gun Nuts links. So I can't read them.
Okay, so I believe they were called Frontier Farms at one point, but the Frontier Outfitters
Yeah.
will be closing their doors to farm or ammunition sales soon.
Oh,
That will
no.
be on the 24th, so within a week's time. They have a few old firearms still remaining, so you can pick them up for a really good price last moment.
16 gauge coach gun, just what I needed.
I don't know what happened that made them choose this path. Oh, actually, that's pretty funny. I didn't even notice. Frontier Outfitters in the logo, Frontier Farms in the name. So,
Well, they probably had to pivot their whole business courtesy of our government. Like if I had to guess, anytime I see a firearms related business pivoting away from firearms or closing its doors, Tony, it does not take a rocket scientist.
I'm not surprised, but meanwhile, they're probably the only gun store in Prince Albert, Saskatchewan. So you will think they will still have some kind of a market, but
I promise you, they're the only legal gun store in Prince Albert, Saskatchewan, but that is not the only place to buy firearms there. They've been shooting at each other for decades.
no, but like if I want my hunting rifle tuned up,
Yeah,
So-
no, then you're SOL, I think, unless, PA's probably got a Canadian Tire that'll sell you but they won't tune anything up for you. I'm also talking out of my butt. I don't know for sure. What's the next link?
let's take a look. It is 308 ammo on sale from Rangeview Sports. Unfortunately, I believe their shipping cost is pretty expensive,
How
but
much is
they're
it?
really good prices on them. $10.50 for 1,000 rounds,
Holy
$5.50 for
smokes.
500, or $62 for 50. So
What's
yeah,
the...
get your ammo.
Oh, yeah. Well, I just bought some 308 ammo too.
Buy
Darn.
more.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like it should go bad, right? All right, what's the final link here, Tony? Hit me with it.
Back in stock, Henry SPD, the Special Purpose Department Predator rifle with a I believe it's a proof branded carbon profile barrel in 223-556, 18-inch barrel. So it's a Henry Supreme, but the Supreme-er of the Supreme. The Supreme Pro Plus, yes. $3,200. It's cool though. Look at that. Look at that laminated stock.
I'm gonna
It's
be
cool.
honest. Like
It's cool.
I love a lever gun more than most. We all know this. Now this one is trying too hard to be too many things. We got a small magazine. We got like cool wood that's kind of weird. No top
Small
rail on the
magazine.
front
You
bit.
need to slap a D60 on it. You could.
Yeah, yes, at least 60 rounds out of this. You know, there's like I don't know. I actually don't like this. I don't
It's
like it. I
designed
don't
to
like what
be
it
a
means.
suppressor hose in the States. It'll be quiet, lightweight, and
It won't be
fast firing
quiet
at
here.
the same time.
It won't be quiet here. So
Oh,
who
yeah,
cares?
that's because you can't speak quietly.
$3,200. You could buy a Carmel with that. You buy a car with that.
You
not
can't
good
buy a
car, but-
Carmel with a carbon barrel on it.
Why? You know what? Fine. What's the? All right. There's actually one more. What's the final link here?
I think that's it.
Nope. There's one more. Range
Uh,
308 Winchester ammo 150. I don't know.
It. That's all of them.
Oh, okay. I'm looking at another one. All right. Well, with that, listeners, I have a question for you. What's your favorite kind of gun? Now everybody knows, like, yeah, I know Tony's holding up his handgun, and God knows I love handguns. I love handguns. They're probably my favorite gun type. The one that really got me into shooting was handguns, obviously. So, but at the same time, what's the most robust? What's the most reliable? What is hands down the gun more people go to than any other around the world? Well,
The Liberator pistol?
you know what? You're supposed to be yes and play along, Tony. It's shotguns, ladies and gentlemen. Everybody loves a shotgun. Shotguns are legal in places where no other guns are. You want to go to
That's true.
Japan? Japan, you can't have a gun, but you can have a shotgun. Well, you or I can't have a shotgun, but with a lot of work and registration with the police and a gun safe in a different part of your house from your ammunition, you can have a shotgun in Japan. You can have a shotgun in Britain, in the UK, where they hate guns and gun owners. You can still have a shotgun there if you go through the right hoops. Australia, yeah, we got you covered. You can have shotguns in Australia. You can have shotguns in all kinds of places. And that got me thinking, what
It is one of the most approved shooting sports in Olympic too.
It is one of the most socially approved
Acceptable,
sports
yeah.
too. For whatever reason, shotguns have been around for so long that they have this like weird space that they're kind of just okay. Even some of the scary black ones, like because of the functionality of most shotguns being, either manually operated, whether you're talking about brake actions, pump actions, some lever actions, bolt actions, like they make shotguns in all flavors. Yes, obviously we all know that they make semi-autos, and as Tony and I got to learn firsthand, they make full autos as well. but for the average civilian, I suggest that shotguns are probably like the fundamental go-to firearm for the average person, especially somebody that maybe isn't as, gun savvy or as, gun fanboy-y as some of us are. And that got me thinking, what's the best one? What is the best shotgun? How do we even begin to analyze that? There's so many different types. You
The
can have
Perazzi. It wins the most amount of Olympic medal. You can't deny that.
That doesn't look. So here's the criteria that I'm suggesting, that we don't just measure by what wins the most Olympic medals. Well, how many guns aren't allowed at the Olympics? Do you know how many like just shotguns I'm not allowed to take to like the Vancouver shooting range in Richmond, where only certain kind of shot. If I showed up with my Versamax in Richmond, I would be asked to go home. Show up with an over-under? Welcome. Come on in. Show up with a side-by-side?
If I was a sponsor shooter, I would ask Perazzi make me a 16-inch Perazzi. It just pissed off everyone. It's like,
but a lot of places the barrel length is part of the deal, right? So what are some criteria that by which we would use to measure the best shotgun? All right, now obviously in Canada, we have magazine capacity restrictions to abide by with anything semi-auto, but we also know that there are some loopholes around that too. And for the time being, even though the powers that be hate us, they haven't seen fit to completely obliterate our magazine capacity rules for manually fired firearms. It was actually during my trip to Reliable Gun today that kind of inspired this, in that one of the things that they had on display, well, actually two of the things they had on display, was one of those absolutely glorious 20-round drum magazines for one of the pump action shotguns. And even better than that, Tony, you know what else they had? They had one of the 30-round big mofos. Thing was huge.
How do you do a reload on that?
Huge. I slowly and painfully, I don't know. I've never loaded a 30-round drum mag for those guns.
Can it sustain a drop from meter height
I bet you
of its
can.
own weight?
No,
Not even loaded, just empty.
They're mostly plastic. I bet you they couldn't. Like I wouldn't risk that for $200. But I was tempted. To buy one for $200 just because it actually would have fit in this gun back here. So I've gotten off track, so let's think about things like magazine capacity, functionality. What can we do with this gun? Things like barrel length, not all shotguns are created equal. In Canada, we all know we can have short barrel shotguns, especially if they're manually operated. As long as their overall weapons length is over 26 inches, you're good to go. So with that, what's the best shotgun? Like, let's start with this boy here. So I have before you a boomstick. Although it is not a 12-gauge double barrel Remington, it is by far my cheapest and most garbage shotgun. Now, I own lots of shotguns. This one might be one of my favorites. It is a short barrel, side-by-side, Norinco, what was it? It's got a designation. It's something stupid. It's like JW something. Where does it say? Yeah, JW 2000. So, simple as it gets, double hammer fire, tang safety, short barrel, you wouldn't even think about chokes with this thing. And it rattles, just moving it around. I love this gun. Is this the best gun? Now, I would posit this perhaps is not the best overall shotgun. However, in a limited situation, if I had to say, deploy this for a defensive purpose, perhaps this would be a good shotgun in that at the end of that defensive purpose, if I walk away, I'm probably going to have to surrender a firearm for a bit. And if I had to say goodbye to a gun, my crappy $200 double barrel sawed off might be the one that I cared the least about. So I don't know.
I just wouldn't have a defensive gun that have rubber ears. Just me. It's like a manual safety, but on steroids.
Yeah, it's fair. Look, I'm not making an argument that this is a good defensive option, although a former U.S. president did swear by it. It's my little dig at
Get a shotgun.
What you gotta do is you go out front, you take your double barrel shotgun, you fire off 2 rounds, bam, bam. That way they know you're armed and that you're out of ammunition.
So you should buy a quad barrel shotgun, is what you're saying.
Well, all right. So now this gun gets very, very low points. So I give it a 1 out of 5 shotgun rounds for its capacity. It's side by side. It's a pain in the butt to load. Break action. I've got a side saddle on it. I could get.
That would be incorrect because it's 1 out of 5 rounds, which is the limit. So it's 2 out of 5 rounds. Not 1 out of 5.
I'm the one that's making the rating scale here. It gets a 1 shotgun shell out of 5 for its capacity. It does not get more than that. I refuse. A gun that has 2 round capacity. No.
Is it not 100% better than 1 round capacity?
1 star. It's 1 star, Tony. I don't care that there are break actions that are single shots. It still gets 1 star. 1 round, 2 rounds, doesn't matter. It's not enough. However, what are the other criteria we could judge this on? Now, overall functionality, I would argue a short barrel shotgun doesn't have a lot of overall functionality. Why? Because it's a short barrel shotgun. Your spread is like pizza box by the time it's made at 10 yards, and anything past that, and your spread is door
shoot
size.
Slugs, it's fine.
You can shoot slugs, sure, that's fair. But yeah, so for me, I would give this thing like a solid 2 on like functionality, and 2 shotgun shells out of 5. And my arguments for that are one of its functional purposes is it always puts a smile on my face when I pull the trigger. It's a stupid gun. It's hilarious, so it gets a point for that. And the other point, it does have limited functionality as a close-up defensive firearm, so I give it another point for that. Where it really wins its points is in the fun zone. So I think you could definitely make an argument that short barrel shotguns, they automatically get like half points just for existing. Short barrel shotguns are so much fun. They're so nifty. They're small, maneuverable. You can run around with them. They give off a big boom and a big kick, big smile. So I give a nice cut down short barrel shotgun like 4 out of 5 for.
You mean manufactured that way, not cut down.
This was manufactured, correct.
Yes.
I'm not in any way suggesting anything illegal be done. Now, we move on. I present to you the finest short barrel shotgun that Turkey has to offer, or one of the finest short barrel shotguns that Turkey has to offer. I, in fact, bought this gun on my birthday several years ago. It was the very first one sold to civilians in this pattern and format. There were 2 prototypes beforehand, and the serial number on this is many zeros 3 because the other 2 were the dealer samples. What I like
Did
about
Rod review this gun?
Rod reviewed a very similar gun. Rod reviewed the SAP 6. This is in fact the Storm MR1, which is just another, it's the same gun. It's a little
Okay.
bit.
Did you record that video? Is that why you know?
I was involved in that video. Yes.
Okay, cool.
However, okay, so for the listeners, I hold an additionally short barrel shotgun. This one pump operated, which is wonderful. And it gets functionality points for that. But what makes this short barreled shotgun so spectacular? Well, that'd be the 12-round magazine I just pulled out of it. And its capacity to take a 20 or 30 round drum mag if you're nasty. I think that you get a whole bunch of extra points for functionality when you can send a whole bunch of extra rounds downrange. Now, you can make an argument that a short barrel shotgun is not good past 20 yards, but I can make an argument that if I can send 30 buckshot rounds downrange in a short period of time, doesn't matter what I'm aiming at, I'm going to hit it. So I make an argument that a mag-fed short barrel shotgun that gets some points for functionality. What say you, Tony? What do you think?
How many rounds have you successfully continuously pumped out of that gun with your 12-round mag or your 25-round drum?
So I haven't done the drum mag out of this, but I can get all 12. I can get a really, really quick cadence with this. My one and only complaint about this gun is no lock. No, there's no lock. So you can, and I have, outrun this gun. But that's, again, mileage may vary. I'm not making an argument that the gun in my hand is the very best gun in existence in any capacity. But my argument is that a short-barreled, magazine-fed shotgun that is pump action gets high points, especially in Canada, due to our laws. Because, as again we know, short-barrel manual-operated firearm, as long as it's over 26 inches, is totally fine. This gun is my camping gun. This gun has actually been used to put down wildlife before in a defensive situation. So it actually gets really, really high points for functionality for me because I have had to actually use it in a defensive situation against live animals. And so I'm going to give it completely, arbitrarily 4 out of 5 for functionality. I will argue it loses points because it just loses points for distance. However, its capacity for large capacity magazines or fun capacity magazines, as I like to call them at work, its general robustness, its simplicity and manual operation makes it kind of ideal. Anybody that's ever watched a movie knows how a pump action shotgun works. Point, pump, pull the trigger, repeat. And I think that it deserves those 4 points. I think it equally deserves, 4 fun points for being so much fun. It would get 5 if it had a giggle switch, but it doesn't.
Sir, you're asking a lot.
We both know that we've handled some magazine-fed, short-barreled, full-auto firearms, so we know they exist. So I'm going to give this thing a 4 out of 5 for fun, 4 out of 5 for functionality. What was my other metric? Capacity? Oh, it gets points for capacity. It's unlimited capacity. It's manually operated. If I could make a 100-round drum for it legally, I could put one in it. So I think it gets.
Does it work though? That's the question.
Okay, so again, mileage may vary. Turkish shotguns, we all know this. Some are good, some are bad. Some people get.
I'm saying does the magazine work? Does the 30-round mag work even?
The ones that yes, the ones
Like
that
you
I
could
have,
say back in the day, the GSG 50 had a 110 round capacity.
yeah.
It wouldn't run more than 10 rounds out of the magazine, though.
No, that's not true. Mine ran like a champ. I never had a problem with that mag. I had a drum mag.
I
I
guess
laughed.
Adriel had different opinions, but okay.
Yeah, no, I did, just for the record, I did in fact actually sell that gun before it got banned. It was, I didn't use it for a long time, and I hated loading that stupid magazine, so I did in fact sell that gun. It's gone. But yeah, no, I think that the few drum mags, the few Turkish drum mags that I have played with, and yes, there is one that I have owned for a prior gun that I did priorly own that I also sold before the bans, worked really, really well. Again, mileage may vary. I'm not recommending go out and buy this particular thing. You can't actually go out and buy this anymore. I don't think anyways, but there's newer, better versions of this. There's short barrel Turkish pump action shotguns for sale at just about every gun store, including, but not limited to, Reliable Gun. Again, they're not sponsoring me. I just really enjoyed my trip there today. Yeah. So Tony, what say you? Do you think I'm crazy? You think this thing deserves, 4s across the board?
I think it's, you can't just blanket it to every single type of firearm because we know longevity is a consideration.
I have owned this gun for a decade.
Okay, but does that mean you can own a car for a decade and never run the engine, and the engine will be in pristine condition?
I've owned this gun for a decade. I've shot it enough that I can shoot it incredibly fast. I have, in fact, had to use it. It's one of the few guns that I own that has been used to defensively protect my life and the life of somebody I cared about against predatory wildlife.
But you didn't shoot it at a competition.
No, it's the wrong gun for competition. It's a short barrel.
Sure, but that's the ultimate. That's the ultimate test, I think. In Canada, where shooting competition is probably the highest round count it's going to see, and that's going to expose some flaw.
All right,
in the long run.
Listeners, tell Tony he's wrong. You said you send us some messages. I actually do want your opinions. I don't want your opinions on how right I am. I'm really, really curious to hear what the listeners' opinions are on how right or wrong you might be, Tony, because this is an interesting topic. At least I felt like this was an interesting topic. Tony wanted to cancel the day because he hates shotguns, even though he owns a couple. It's such a satisfying. Honestly, like the box style magazines for these things are so much fun. Like you can beer can them really well because they're so nice and beefy. It's like, oh, you're just grabbing, you can rip one out, jam another one in.
This is the reasons why I hate box style magazines. Jeez.
Why?
Because they're bent pieces of sheet metal that will doom to fail at one point or another.
Okay. I mean, I didn't realize you hated box style magazines.
But I wouldn't mind if they're polymer like PMags.
God, sometimes, Tony, you can be a bit of a killjoy. But if you don't like
I am.
box style magazines, well, we've got the classic. We've got the tube bed 8-round capacity, full length Mossberg 590A1 shotgun that I would argue is one of the coolest and best shotguns ever made. Now, it loses.
You can't quad load it.
It loses some points for functionality. I will admit I can't quad load the thing. Not with that port.
It is very convenient for single loading, though. Like your lifter is not in the way.
Nope. No, you can keep this thing topped up for days. Like I have always said that, somebody with a manually operated tube-fed firearm, you can you can make the magazine capacity too. And I still have an infinite capacity magazine as long as I have a shotgun bandolier and I'm halfway decent at loading the thing, which I am. So
sounds like you're just shooting too slow in an IPSC shotgun match.
I will beat you in an IPSC shotgun match just to make you eat those words.
Let's do that. Come to Alberta.
Fine. I will. I'll come and I'll kick your butt next year. How about that?
Sure.
All right. So
We'll plug it for 2 rounds because you said it's infinite amount of capacity.
you plug yours for 2 rounds too. So
No, because I didn't say that's the thing I would do.
I
You
wouldn't do
said
it
it.
either.
I
I'm
didn't.
saying you could in theory, and you still have an infinite capacity magazine.
It's just
Anyway,
because you don't shoot fast enough.
we're digressing. So in my head, the 500 series Mossbergs, the 870, Remingtons, these are like the ubiquitous 12 gauge pump action firearms of the modern era, right?
Already Mossberg
Everybody-
88. It's still very quality, built in the US.
You know what? You're 100% right. And do not let me undervalue the 88 or the Maverick. Those things are spectacular. I have lots of friends with them. Honestly, when somebody asks me, like, hey, I just want to kind of own a shotgun, kind of for defense. I'm not really like maybe to go camping with. I'm not going to get into high volume shooting. I'm probably not going to shoot it a lot. I just want to like have a thing and get good with it. I have recommended to more people that gun, like a Maverick or an 88, more than almost
It's
anything
90%
else.
of the way there to a Mossberg 500 for
Yes.
about 50% of the cost.
Fraction of
So
the price.
it's a really good deal if you're not shooting it too much.
Yes. Now, again, let's talk about the drawbacks. Now, the drawback with any of firearms like again, the 500, the 590, the 88, the Maverick, the 870s, for the most part, what's our biggest drawback going to be? The smooth bore. Now, yes, I know some people do have chokes in theirs, and you can, get a choked barrel. This one's not. This one's just your classic.
I think generally the
tactical-
500s are choked. The 590s are not.
It depends on the barrel. I do have a 500 barrel that's threaded for chokes, but I have 2 barrels that aren't. Admittedly, one of those is a slug barrel, so it doesn't really count. But yeah, for the most part, like most like 870 or 590 pump guns or 500 pump guns that you're going to encounter in the wild are going to be smooth bore, right? Like you're really kind of nitpicking on the ones if you're going to talk about something that's not. Now, I'm going to give this gun, I'm going to give it a 3 on the capacity because it is technically unlimited, but you are actually limited by the tube. Now, yes, you can keep it topped up. It loses points because topping it up is hard because it's not exactly a big space to keep it loaded. So you can't quad load. Even dual loading is, you could double it if you wanted to, but in general, you're going to be loading this thing one at a time. Just get good at it. I like to load out of the side saddle along the side. But yeah, so I'll give it a 3 for the capacity. And then as far as like functionality, I think I'm probably also going to give it a 3. It loses points for me because of the smooth bore. It loses points for me in general because of the overall length of the thing. You're really waving around a big gun, right? So in my head, when I think about like functionality, I think about how easy is this firearm to manipulate, how easy is it to deploy, how easy is it to use in the environment that I want to use it in. And the second that a gun starts to get long, I'm going to take points away from that. So I'd probably give it 3 shotgun shells out of 5 for functionality in that regard. But the 3 points that it gets to keep are because this thing is so stupid reliable. Mossberg just knocked it out of the park with the 500 series and the 590s. I have put so many rounds through this gun. It's not even funny. This particular shotgun, this was actually the very first gun I bought myself when I got my license. Whole story, but that I won't get into. But yeah, I wanted it. It's tactical. Zombies were very in vogue, and this was a fun zombie fighting gun at the time for sure. Certainly a home defense gun if ever I saw one, because everybody knows that noise. And somebody comes into your house and they hear that noise, they know it's time to leave. So I don't know. Overall, I'm going to give it 3 on the functionality, 3 on the capacity, but I'm going to give it 4 for fun. This gun, no, it does. So obviously it does lock back. So you've actually got to pull the trigger to cycle it, unless you want to, do the little locking lever. You can run this gun stupid fast too. And again, I have It's like once you get into a good cadence of just like you can really, really, really run it fast. You can also like hiccup and cause a problem there, but generally like you're not trying to shoot a shotgun as fast as possible, unless you're unless you're in a competition. But I would also argue that a smooth bore tactical shotgun's maybe not the best choice for competition. Of course, I've encountered lots of folks that bring them for the shotgun courses because it's what they got. But you know, the lack of availability for chokes, you know, limited capacity in some regards. Some would argue overcapacity in some regards over a semi-auto. But yeah, I very, very much like just your standard 500, 590, 870 pump guns. I've got one of each. I love them. I really do. It's still like every time I walk into a gun store, and especially anytime I'm looking at like any of the used guns. Oh, do we have a nice 870 somewhere? Is that a Wingmaster? What kind of shape is that in? Oh, look at that 500. That one's nice. I've had to stop myself from buying more shotguns than I care to admit. I love shotguns a lot. I don't even know why, because they're, you know, in a lot of ways you could argue they're kind of dumb, but I think they're fun. So then we can talk about semi-auto shotguns. If I manage not to destroy this. So now, Tony, I know you've just gotten into the church of the semi-auto shotgun, but I have been a believer for a while. How's your conversion been coming?
It's been relatively good. Of course, capacity is going to be a limit, and for the 1301, the benefit is you have a lot of aftermarket support, so you can address a lot of the, not necessarily issues, but creature comforts that I like to call, for example, the charging handle. That's a very good thing about a popular model. I only had two faulty ejection problems before, well, right after I got the gun, before I cleaned it initially, so they do need a little bit more care for cleaning. Reliability generally has been really good. As mentioned, you will have some models that will have choke capabilities. This one would be one of them, and for competition, that is very important.
Yep.
Depends on the model. You might have an 18.5-inch barrel, which would be like the combat tactical style in the US, because that's how long they can cut it from the factory in the States. This one competition will have, I think this is a 22 or 24. This one is the 1301, have the benefit of being drilled and tap. That's really nice. The M2 for the most part does not have that, which is kind of unfortunate in today's day and age, especially if you're trying to play 3-gun games or you're trying to jump divisions where you have either irons versus optics division. You can't really quick change in that regard.
Fair. So
unfortunately, the capacity is what it is. So learn how to follow it.
Hang on a second. So let's talk about the capacity with semi-auto shotguns in Canada. As we all know, any semi-automatic centerfire firearm is limited to 5 rounds of the ammunition it was manufactured for. Many of us know that shotguns do have a neat little cheat code. If your shotgun is chambered in 3.5-inch, like my Versamax here, you are limited to less than 6 rounds of that particular size. So my Versamax is limited to less than 6, slightly less than 6. But what that can mean in practical terms is, depending on what gun you have, because a lot of guns, I think they only make a 3-inch chamber for yours, if I'm right. Like, I'll bet you the 3.5 is super rare because nobody shoots that
there
stuff.
Is one, but yeah, they don't tailor to the Canadian market. For example, the 1301 comp has a 3.5 receiver per se. They have the 3.5 load port for you to load the shells in, but the barrel and chamber is not rated for that, so it's not rated as such.
No, my barrel is stamped 3.5, or my chamber is stamped 3.5 inch. So legally speaking, I am limited to no more than 5 full rounds fitting into this gun's magazine of 3.5 inch. And I do actually keep a couple of boxes of 3.5 inch. They're stinking rare, but I keep them as just a fact of, yes, my gun does in fact use this ammunition. The fact that as a result of that, it can hold almost 8 rounds of 2 3/4 inch. That's a neat
That's a
little shot.
coincidence. That's a
Coincidence.
Just
Well-
like the CZ magazines. That's a coincidence. It does.
Yeah.
It's not supposed to fit 9mm rounds in a 40 mag, but by coincidence it did.
Yeah,
Unfortunately.
absolutely. So, depending on your shotgun, that might mean you get 7 rounds instead of 5. Plus, you put 1 in the chamber. Now you've got 8. You can go slow. Now you got 9. You got 1 on your match saver, and all of a sudden you don't have to reload during depending on what kind of shotgun style course of fire you've got. So I would argue that there are some great benefits to a semi-auto shotgun. My biggest argument, and it really is a North America wide argument, out of all firearm types, I would suggest that semi-auto shotguns are probably the least hated out of anything in the semi-auto family, if you will. They're the least contentious. Name me a U.S. state or a Canadian province where a semi-automatic shotgun is banned.
Well, Canadian province don't matter because federal law is federal. Shotgun, I can't think of a U.S. state where a semi-automatic pistol would be illegal.
Well, that's because they're constitutionally protected.
California has a list, so that's
California does have a list, but it's not constitutionally correct. They actually
Then,
can't do what
if
they've done.
that's the argument, then U.S. they can't accept any firearms.
Well, no, they can't. Well, I mean, yes, they can, and soon they will. But still, in general, there isn't a state in the union where your semi-auto shotgun is legal. There is a reason why, that's the gun to have in the States. Like when I travel stateside, my favorite gun to travel with is semi-auto shotgun, right? And the reason is I can take it to any one of the 50 U.S. states, and it's legal there. Now, there's admittedly some exceptions. You go into California without this permit, or you go into, God help you, New Jersey or New York without a firearms permit, and it's a problem. So this is not legal advice. This is just, the ramblings of a blue-haired
Slamfire
idiot.
radio is always and has always been for entertainment purposes only.
But in general, semi-auto shotgun that you can run well, you have all of the benefits of a semi-automatic firearm in that you don't have to manually operate in any capacity, anything apart from keeping it loaded. There are ways to find a reasonable capacity. And in general, I think like most situations that you're going to get into, 7 rounds of 12 gauge is better than none. Honestly, it's more rounds than you get in a wheel gun, and people carry those for defensive purposes all the time. You've got the capacity to, as Tony mentioned earlier, you can still fire slugs out of the thing. You can choke it. You can actually choke it just enough to get away with slugs too, depending on the style of choke that you got. I'm not brave enough to do that, but it is doable, or so I'm told. But still, you can sling birdshot, you can sling buckshot, you can sling all mess of other random rounds depending on where you live and the legalities there. And you can do all of that without people thinking that you're completely ridiculous. Even people that don't like guns kind of understand folks that own shotguns. And you, on top of it, you don't have to have a black gun. Your shotgun can be colorful. It can be covered in wood. It can be all kinds of flavors of awesome. And again, it's just not contentious. Even like an all black shotgun, I would suggest, or I would posit that you're going to cause the least amount of personal upset. Now, downsides, manual of arms. Tony, am I right? Manual of arms is a little bit of practice on a semi-auto shotgun. So, we've got a
Not
couple
if you have a 940 JM, but that's a separate issue.
Yeah, well, in general, we've got to learn a couple of things about how to use a firearm. So I'm going to about how to use a semi-auto shotgun. So I'm going to take some points off on functionality for that. I think just for the simplicity of functionality. There's a learning curve, right? Once you get comfortable with it, you can do it all day long. But I know there was a learning curve for me. I know there was a learning curve for you. I think just about anybody that I've ever seen like try to get into semi-auto shotguns, there's still been just like a little bit of a learning curve. So I'm going to argue point off for functionality just for manual of arms and having to kind of change things over. I'm going to take away 2 points for capacity, but it's a Canadian capacity thing. Yes, our American brethren, you can have one of those really, really wild magazine tubes that go out past the muzzle, and that's super sweet and super fun. And I cannot wait until I can do that too. But in general, I'm giving it a 3 for capacity. It's got all the benefits that I mentioned earlier, in that you can keep it topped up. You can do quad loads in this. Like I've widened out my loading port quite a bit, as you can see. But in general, you are limited by capacity. So I'm going to give it 3 there. I'm going to give it 4 for functionality. I'm going to give it all the points for fun, though. I bought this particular Versamax after a really good friend of mine bought one. We went to the range, and he's like, "Here, shoot this." And I literally cursed at him because I knew I was going to have to spend some money on that gun because I just loved it. You can say what you want about the Versamax. It's heavy, and Remington's Remington. And I will admit that this gun did poop some parts out once while I was shooting it, and now I own a whole bunch of extra gun parts so that never happens to me again. But overall, I've rarely had more fun shooting than I have shooting semi-auto shotgun that just like eats recoil, and this gun does. The weight makes me happy. So overall, I'm going to give it, I'm still only going to give it 4 for fun because the funnest shotgun we shot at SHOT Show. So I give it 4 for fun, 4 for functionality, and 3 for capacity. Tony, what say you?
I think that's accurate. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So what about the things that we can't have?
They're expensive.
They are expensive. So let's talk about a couple of things that you can't have, but I wish we could. So how about the Street Sweeper? The Striker shotgun, Striker 12.
I don't think that is a very functional gun.
I would argue it's a all right. So there are a couple of different flavors of that thing too. There is a version of it with a removable magazine, and I would say that is much, much, much more functional. Although I think most of them, like by design, weren't allowed to have that. But it's cool. The drum fed, like manually operate. It works kind of like a revolver, right? Because you but kind of also not, because you actually rotate the drum ahead of time with the little paddle that you spin around. So it's just dunk, dunk, dunk every time you pull the trigger. It cycles. As a gun, it does. However, the biggest flaw with that particular firearm is that most of the models do not eject the rounds, and you have to ramrod them out one at a time. Yeah. There will be a video.
Gun is 9.25 pounds unloaded. That's heavy.
That's not light.
Bloody heavy. 12 round capacity. That's really, really heavy. And it doesn't shoot full auto, does it? No.
No. It is no. It's single shot per trigger pull.
Yeah. So it's cool. It's a movie and game, darling, but it's very heavy.
Yeah, heavy, but also that weight is kind of nice because it's actually a fairly small firearm. Like it's not very big at all, and it really is designed to be like hip fired. It does have a stock that you can fold out, and you can get your 3 points of contact if you want. But in general, that gun, I don't know what its purpose was. It was designed in South Africa, and value of human life is just a little bit different there. It was essentially prohibited from birth here, and Lord knows I think it's actually considered a destructive device in the States, so it's not even regulated quite the way a machine gun is. I think it's a little bit worse than that. I still say it's really cool, and there will be videos incoming of that. And then finally, what do we think about full auto 12 gauge? There are a couple of examples, whether you like the USAS, which there will also be some videos incoming about, because, yeah, the AA-12, ever famous and also exceptionally rare. It's weird the ATF didn't like that gun. I wonder why. And then you have like really nifty little things like the full auto Fostech and I think that one got prohibited really fast too down in the States. Like I think they destructive device to that thing.
I thought that's like a caliber thing.
I don't.
They could just do a Winnie Lily, I guess.
Oh, the ATF can do whatever they want. They're just like the RCMP here, like banned with stuff like that, I think. But anywho, I would argue that a full auto 12 gauge short barrel with a suppressor maxes out the fun points. Would you disagree?
No, I wouldn't disagree. No.
Okay, so we'd give a full auto 12 gauge 5 points or five shotgun shells out of 5 for fun. I would give a drum fed full auto 12 gauge 5 out of 5 for magazine capacity. Would you disagree?
Would it run though?
Yes. Let's say yes.
Well, I guess the
A12
yes. Will run. I haven't seen anyone run them in the Genesis, but
we had one in our hands that ran well. The USAS even runs them pretty well.
Okay.
Tony, you don't seem enthusiastic about this at all.
Not with the drum mag. I don't see competitors. I see competitors running magazine that's a meter long, 3 feet long. I just don't.
Okay, yeah, but you're just thinking about competition. I'm thinking about.
Wow, you got to think about the reliability.
Sure.
What's capacity if you can only use half of it and it jams?
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Well, okay, so you got reliable box style mags, so at least your.
Is there a belt fed full auto shotgun somewhere?
I feel like I saw
Someone
one.
Probably can't do it.
I feel like I've seen one somewhere. I want to say it was like a pre-AI video, like either a YouTube short or a Facebook short. I've definitely seen one. I don't know how there aren't more of something like that, but I think that it does exist. Okay, but we would give a full auto 12 gauge, let's say one that functions. What kind of points would you give that for functionality? Do you think that that's overkill? You think full auto is overkill in 12 gauge?
If it's like a Genesis where it runs in semi-auto, it runs in full auto, I don't think it's overkill. It's select fire, right? So you can pick and choose if you need it.
Yeah.
And for a spinner, it'll be really fast.
Oh, that would not be fair.
Why not? Just bring it, right?
Okay, so by those metrics, yeah, it's not fair. By those metrics, we're going to throw the full select fire gun that nobody can have out. And what do we think? This was a completely pointless endeavor. This is mostly just me gushing about shotguns because I saw some fun magazines today that made me think about shotguns. Yeah, as usual, listeners, you've learned nothing. But if you came here to learn, you came to the wrong place. This show is for entertainment purposes only. I try to be entertaining. Tony, what's your favorite shotgun?
The Browning Auto 5. Not the A5, but the Auto 5.
That's a
because
good
it recoils within the barrel. And John Moses Browning, the gun god himself, says you should pick this, son. So I picked that.
I respect that. my very favorite shotgun, and it's a combination of nostalgia, desire, and just general functionality. But it's my 590A1. I own a dozen shotguns. That's my favorite, hands down. It's the only shotgun that I have that has a name. I named her Becky, not Becky. Becky. Yeah. Becky's my favorite. She's the best. All around, the best. I don't shoot her as much as I ought to, but she's great. And now I'm very curious, listeners. What's your opinion on shotguns? What do you like? Hit us in the comments. Tell us what your favorite shotgun is. Tell us why. Send us a message about it too. We're gonna close up the show here in a second, and you're gonna have an opportunity to send us emails. Send us emails. Tell us what you think. Tell us why I'm wrong. Tell us why Tony's wrong. Tell us why Tony's such a killjoy when he's talking about shotguns for some reason, because he's not enthused. Gotta bump that energy up, Tony.
I've experienced superiority, so I cannot look back at the mere mortals anymore.
Wait, superiority? You mean other guns?
No, full auto Genesis.
Okay, yeah.
I've seen superiority. I don't want to see these anymore.
What? Yeah, but it's different tools for different things. All of these guns.
No, it's perfect for everything. What do you mean? Trap, yes. Hunting, yes. Competition, yes. Home defense, yes. I can't see a thing that's not good for it.
Great. I realize it won.
Drone defense, yes.
Yeah. Speaking of, okay, yeah, we
full auto, yes.
Yeah. Okay, so there's some extra functionality that long barrel 12 gauges suddenly have in drone defense.
Just have tighter chokes, you'll be all right.
Well, unless you have a smooth bore, in which case you're screwed.
Have a different barrel.
True. I've never explored that. I should. There's got to be another 590 barrel out there that I could
just tap it.
It's
plenty of meat.
I don't know if I would.
It is not quite factory conditions, yes, but
all right,
it's yours.
All right. Well, you all have listened to me ramble on long enough. I love shotguns. Oh, never mind. I love shotguns in all flavors. I have been enjoying all of the little short barrel over-unders that Tactical Imports and a couple of other guys have brought in. It was so sweet. Yeah, they're fantastic. Shotguns are great. Tell me I'm wrong. Send us a message. Give us a comment. And with that, let's move on to listener feedback. Tony, do we have listener feedback?
We do. We have. I'm going to give a shout out to Sam Wolf 9301. He's asking where the Discord link was, and I did send that to him. So go find that. That was on episode 664. I do have 3 homework comments from Eddie as well. Tony, for out-of-town matches in the periods I will fly or drive in, depends on the length of the event. If it's just a weekend, I'll most likely fly. If it's a national championship that runs all week, I'd drive. Cool. Good to know. I don't know. I need to get stories off Eddie, like how many competitions he was into. That was pretty cool. Adriel, I didn't realize the HC3R mags were not reliable. Did you have a chance to run other 1022 banana mags before they were proclaimed illegal by the Horsey police? If so, how do the HC3R mags compare? I don't know. Adriel have to answer that question for you. I was way behind that time. But I have to say, with the SBI mag adapter and the Pro Mag 22 round 597 magazine, they run pretty good until you put any pressure on the magazine. So make sure it's very much free floating in the air. And if you have a hand stop and angle grip or a barricade stop, use it instead of resting your gun forward, thinking you are going to rest on a mag well that doesn't exist because you're not shooting AR. I think for banana mags, especially from this and from my A22 days, it's so ammo dependent because 22s are lubricated externally. So it depends on the temperature and spring pressure and what kind of lubes it has on it. Different weather conditions can affect how they run. For example, my A22 mags only want to run very waxy ammo in the heat of summer because that's apparently a good combination for that lubrication wise, and it runs fine with generally what was it called? The Norma 22 AR, something like that. It has an AR on, like AR-22 on a box, so that runs pretty good for that. Generally, I run auto match for my 5.97 magazines. 20. I usually load them to 20 rounds, unless like this stage specifically asks for 20 rounds of ammo, and I have 2 in there for extras. Those run pretty good. Don't drop them too hard; they will explode. Ask me how I know. And last comment from Eddie. I thought you were having a guest on when Kyle popped in. I didn't recognize him until you guys mentioned it was him. Yeah, he has a very smooth face now. Makes him look younger. And depends on who you ask, more attractive too. Yeah, that's all the homework from Eddie.
Any other comments, or was that it?
I think that's it.
Yeah, well, again, listeners, I know you're out there. I know a couple of people watch us, a couple of people listen to us. You know, shout out. I want to hear what your favorite shotgun is and why. And one of us will read it out on the on the show live, whether it be Tony or me, or it'll probably be Tony. Although if you send an email, especially if it's a lengthy one, it'll be me that reads it. So, you know, give me a lengthy, you know, a quick paragraph or two on why the shotgun that you picked is the best, and why all of us are silly and wrong. You know, we're not. And Eddie, I look forward to hearing what your favorite shotgun is. I'm sure it's going to be interesting. And I guess with that, yeah, let's move on to definitely check out our. Oh, well, hang on a second. I'm skipping. We've got a sponsorship link for Bass Pro and Brownells. And every once in a while, we will read out what was purchased. If you use our link, our affiliate link, you know, a couple of bucks go to the show, and we will read out all the cool stuff that you all purchased. I actually think we're behind in doing that, but we're going to do it soon. Want to special thanks to our supporters on Patreon. You guys keep the lights on around here. And can't believe that you still listen to us and like us, even when they brought me on. Ugh. But no, very happy to be here, and really, really happy that we have Patreons that love listening to us. If you would like to email the show, please send an email to slamfireradio@gmail.com. I will read it if I'm on, or if I'm not, Adriel will read it, or Tony, or someone. You know, it depends. But I like reading the emails. And with that, Tony, do you have any shout outs?
I do. I'll give a shout out to Adriel and Thomas for coming with me to the Olympic trial shoot. So now we're Olympians. Hopefully, we'll see about that. And shout out to Tristan from SBI for putting up that match and sponsoring the Steel Challenge Nationals. And thanks to Dan. You can see his videos with us as an interview previously on Slamfire Radio about Steel Challenge, and thanks to him for putting on the Nationals once again.
And I want to again give a shout out to Silvercore. I know I've already done this before, but you guys let me move that handgun course because of, you know, lost in my life, and it was seamless. You guys are awesome. I really appreciate you. I cannot wait to come out and do my course. I've been looking forward to it a whole bunch. And with that, join our Discord server, watch us on Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and most importantly, join the CCFR. They are actively fighting for us, and my goodness, we've never seen a fight like this in our life. So join them. They're fighting for you to keep and own firearms. They're fighting for me to keep and own firearms. So even if you don't want to keep guns, I'd love to keep guns. Join the CCFR. With that, we'll see you next week.
Good night, Kelly.
Good night, everybody.
So if you have any comments or questions for the show, please send an email to slamfireradio@gmail.com. Now go grab a gun and shoot something.
When the talking is over, it's time to get a gun.